Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Me and my team will present the report with title Proposed Development of Sustainable Scheduled Waste Treatment Center SSWTC. My name is Shahirah and I will present about the introduction, statement of need, project option and project description. Next, Zainal Zakaria will present about the existing environment, while Pravin Gunalan will present about the impact assessment, and lastly, Alif Irfan will present about the mitigation measure and environmental management plan. For the project proponent for this proposed project was Berjaya Alam Murni Sendirian Berhad with their environmental impact assessment consultant AMR Environmental Sendirian Berhad. Okay, for the introduction, location of the proposed SSWTC at the PT1C82 Bukit Tagar Sanitary Landfill, Mungkin Sungai Tinggi, daerah Hulu Selangor, Selangor Darul Ehsan. The area of the location is 40 acres in existing BTSL, which is developed and operated by KUB Berjaya Enviro Sendirian Berhad. Okay, for the statement of need, first, to provide a service of scheduled waste treatment and disposal facility for the waste generated in Peninsular Malaysia. Second, to reduce the illegal waste dumping that may cause environmental pollution. And third, to ensure the disposal of industry waste conducted systematically. Fourth, to provide an effective service and technology for scheduled waste treatment. Next, to reduce the carbon footprint by minimizing the transportation distance from the waste generator to SSWTC. Next, to ensure the packaging, labeling and storage of scheduled waste conducted systematically. And lastly, environmental conservation and sustainability and improving employment and economic opportunity in local population. Project location, it shows that the proposed SSWTC is in the existing BTSL. We already have the buffer zone area 500 meter from the BTSL boundary. Okay, for the plan layout, it shows the overall plan layout for the treatment plant at the specific area within the 40 acres of the land. And next, the project concept. First, WTE thermal treatment plant. The capacity is 20,000 tonnes per annually or 70 metric tonnes per day. The type will be used is rotary kiln stoker. For the storage facility has capacity 10,000 tonnes with maximum duration to be stored is 6 months, and then the waste will be stored based on the characteristic and compatibility. And then for the secure land, the capacity will be 350,000 meter cube of airspace with the base liner with double line landfill with a single collection pipe. And then for the solidification facility, the capacity will be 8,000 tonnes per annually. The time operation will be 8 hours every day. And then the reagent will be used is waste 100%, sand 100%, cement about 20 until 30%, lime 10%, and water more than 50%. And then for the flow chart of the process, the waste will be obtained from the healthcare facilities and industry to the SSWTC and will be sent to the storage area for the WAC testing, while the clinical waste will directly go to the WTE thermal treatment plant. After WAC testing, it will be divided into 3. First, organic, solid and liquid scheduled waste will go to the WTE thermal treatment. Second, inorganic, solid and liquid scheduled waste will go to the solidification facility. And last, organic and inorganic solid scheduled waste will go to the secure landfill, while the output from the WTE thermal treatment plant, fly ash, will be go to the solidification facility, and then the bottom ash will be go to the secure landfill.
So I will explain about the current environment condition. This part outlines the existing environments concerning the physical environment, land pattern, socio-economic characteristics, and human condition in vicinity of the existing proposed project site. The information serves as the background of baseline data on various aspects of subject matter in connection with the proposed scheduled waste management facilities. The existing environment baseline is obtained from the primary and secondary sources. Field investigation were carried out to supplement any insufficient of information for the study area. The condition of existing environment of the project site is within 5 km radius of surrounding area in future described in. The compiled data on the existing environment is regarded as baseline environmental condition to assess potential environmental change if any may arise during the implementation of the project. So first, we must collect data for environmental conditions such as physical environment. Physical environment includes of regional geology, geology of landfill area, hydrogeology, river system, climate, existing meteorological, annual and monthly rainfall, temperature, relative humidity, surface wind, cloud cover, resident and also population. For the surface winds, the wind is mostly from the northwest, which is 18.5%, followed by the west, which is 12.1%, and southwest 10.2% respectively. Strongest wind direction are mainly from southeast, southwest, and northwest, which are 5.5 until 7.9 millimeters per second. Truth rarely occurring at 0.8%. The most frequent occurrence of wind speed is at 0.3 until 1.5 meters per second, while the second most frequency at 1.6 until 3.3 meters per second. Cloud cover. Based on the table, the mean annual cloud cover, which was fairly constant at 6.9 to 7.1 octas. Project site can be expected to experience a similar cloud cover. For the population for Hulu Selangor district is 197,916 people for 2008. The population in the Hulu Selangor district is expected to increase by 3.7%. The development and filling of existing vacant industry area is expected to prevent migration out at Hulu Selangor district. If you can see the maps, this is the maps where the zone of study where I said as now the zone of study is within 5 km radius from the proposed project site, and it's called as the zone of impact. All the sensitive receptor that is located within the ZOI is identified, analyzed, and reported in the form of 5 km radius. The identification process is through the site visit to the ZOI, reviewing of Hulu Selangor Local Plan 2020, information gathered from the engagement with authorities, satellite image by remote sensing, and also drone. If you can see the next maps, this is maps for water intake points. The main purpose of an ITEX is to ensure a constant water supply that can be adjusted to suit local condition.
Very good evening. So now I will be explaining about the impact assessment. So in this case, there's 11 aspects of impact assessment. First is the air quality. So the method of assessment for air quality is the modeling of air dispersion. The criteria is based on the ambient air quality standards, and for the outcome, it can be into two parts where we will be focusing more on the construction part and the operation part, in which the construction, for instance, there's a minor impact will be predicted, and for the operation, the degradation of the air quality due to various type of emission. Okay, for the health impacts, the method of assessment and the criteria is basically the health assessment and also the acceptable lifetime in the carcinogenic risk range, respectively. And for the outcome, the construction is basically also minor impacts are predicted in the construction part. For the operation part, there's health risk to the local residents and also a prolonged exposure to the toxic and hazardous materials. So this is for the health impact. Next. The land disturbing for the method of assessment is by the modified universal soil loss equation, and the criteria is based on the guidance of the document for addressing soil erosion and sediment control aspects. And for the outcome, basically for the construction part is earthwork and site clearing, the removal of vegetation, and also the minor impacts are predicted in the operation part. Okay. Fourth, we will be focusing on the waste management. Okay, the waste management also will have significant impact. So for the method of assessment, we will identify the waste generated. We will try to identify the type of waste. The criteria is based on the waste procedures as in the regulations. And the outcome for this is the where it can be focused on the construction is the solid waste that is generated during the construction activities. And for the operation is the residue, the fly ash and the bottom ash generated from the operation of the thermal treatment plant. So for the water quality, the method of assessment is a nearby river water quality characteristic study. So we will study the river water quality, and for the criteria, we will follow the class 3 national water quality standard. For this, we will focus on the outcome. For the outcome, the construction of we will have a minor impact and also a stormwater runoff from the disturbed and cleared areas. As for the operation, the effluent discharge from the leachate treatment plant. So this will be the significant impact for the water quality. Next. We also will have the wastewater quality. So for the wastewater quality, the method of assessment is based on the leachate characteristic study, and the criteria will be based on the DOE discharge limit as per Environmental Quality Act 1974. For this, for the outcome, the significant impact for the construction, there will be no significant impact. But for the operation, there will be a leachate generated from the secure landfill activities. All right, next. There will be also the groundwater quality. Just now I explained the water quality, wastewater, now the groundwater quality. For the groundwater quality, the simulation of the groundwater flow and the groundwater quality impact will be the method of assessment. For the criteria, it will be limits stated in the standard quality air tanah kebangsaan. And for the construction, for the impact, the significant impact for the construction wise, there will be hydrology, the site preparation involving the clearing of surface vegetation, and also for the operation, the hydrology, daily depositing layers of solid waste and thin soil covers, and a post-operational phase involve the leachate management and control system. So this will be impact. Next. Alright, for the quantitative risk assessment, the method of assessment is the QRA individual risk modeling. We will use this model. For the criteria, we will follow for the two criteria will be 1 times 10 for negative fatality per year and also 1 times 10 for negative fatality per year. And for the outcome, for the construction, there will be no any significant impact. But for the operation, there will be an accidental fire, toxic dispersion, and also explosion due to the unintended release of the hazardous substance. Alright, next. We also need to focus on the social part also. For this, the criteria will be locality of the survey site, physical components, and people perceived within 5 km of radius. And from the outcome, the significant impact will be the impact due to the construction activity for the construction part, and for the operation, the change in the socio-economic environment caused by the daily operation of the landfill activities. Next. Okay. For the noise quality, alright, the noise quality, the method of assessment will be based on the assessment of the permissible noise level, and the criteria will be maximum pessimistic sound level by the receiving land use for the planning and the new development. For this noise quality, the outcome will be based on the operational and the movement of the heavy vehicles entering and leaving the project site for the construction wise, and for the operation wise, mainly from the vehicles and for materials or waste transportation. Okay, for the final part of the impact assessment will be the odor quality. So in this case, the method of assessment will be based on the modeling of odor dispersion using Ahmad, and the criteria will be based on the order, consideration, draft order, regulation, Department of Environment. For this, in this case, the outcome for the construction will be no significant impact, and also for the evaluation, there will be not likely affect the surrounding community because the location of the process project is strategic. So this will be the 11 aspect of the impact assessment, and I explained the method assessment, the criteria, and the significant impact in terms of the operation and also the construction. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Pravin. So next is for mitigation. So there is several mitigation measures for each of the impact. So for the first one is mitigation measures for air quality. So for the construction, when is the construction happen, open burning is prohibited on site at all times, and good housekeeping and proper maintenance of equipment are to be observed. And use low sulfur diesel for trucks and diesel fuel. Okay, next is for the construction part, which is include the dust, which is once again open burning is prohibited on site at all times, and same as the air pollution, which is good housekeeping and use low sulfur diesel and switch off engine when idling. So next is for the operation, which is this involve the WTE thermal treatment plant, which is air pollution control system for the fuel gas treatment, shall be in continuous operation, which is performance monitoring and thermal treatment process is essential. Schedule and preventive maintenance shall be implemented. Okay. So next is mitigation measure for health impact. So mitigation measures for health impact. The first one is for land preparation, which is for construction. Needs a proper traffic management, wet method to control the dust, implementation of safe work practice, and clean water supplies and proper solid waste disposal. So for the WTE for health impact is need a proper operating condition, and operation shall be implemented, which is design of effective stack height, installation of proper air pollution control, conduct ambient air quality monitoring. And for the overall SSWTC operation, project proponent need to make sure that all workers at site undergo health screening to avoid infectious disease epidemic. Any case involving infectious disease at site must be immediately reported to the local district health office. Okay, so for the next mitigation measures is for the land disturbing. For the first one is land preparation, which is for construction. The working area for earthwork and construction should be kept to a minimum to avoid excessive soil erosion and sedimentation, and all movement of construction vehicle over unpaved road should be kept to a minimum. And earthwork activity should be carried out during periods of low rainfall to minimize erosion. So for the construction, which is involve the site meeting, which is scheduled site meeting should be carried out before commencement of work. And during the work progress, site meeting required to be performed as well to facilitate the work progress by parties involved. And proper meeting need to be recorded in order to trace progressive work. And the last one is constructive construction markers. As for the construction monitoring, construction markers shall be provided with pole to indicate barrier of construction area, and sedimentation discharge at discharge point at the southern part of project sites need to be marked. Okay, next. Okay, for the next one is mitigation measure for the waste management. So for the waste management, we need to minimize oversupply of the construction material, which may lead to disposal of surplus material. So we need also to minimize generation of solid waste by sound planning of using reusable item and encourage 4Rs. And waste is stored in a manner that prevent the commingling and or contact between incompatible waste. And for the WTE, for the waste management, for the treatment plant, protective clothing and personal protective equipment (PPE) while handling ash. So the storage of ash as specified under Environmental Quality Schedule Waste Regulation 2005. Bottom ash will be contained in a proper container and sent to the SSWTC secured landfill. And for the last one, for the secured landfill, the lorry cargo container for solidified material shall be ensured to be leak-proof to prevent any leakage during the transportation. Okay, for the next one. For the next one is mitigation for risk assessment, which is need to be established in emergency response plan as tool for effective disaster or emergency management. And emergency response procedure shall also incorporated incident involving any chemical handle. So the next one is mitigation measure for water quality, which is for construction and appropriate drainage system to serve for draining draining the water to the collection pond. And for the operation is installation of high quality engineered liners to prevent any possible leakage of leachate. Next, the next part is mitigation measures for noise quality. Okay, so to handling the noise pollution, the first one during the construction part, the noise coming from the construction will be only be temporary, and so the noise generated by the wheel only cause short-term impact. So proposed project is expected not to cause any noise impact to the surrounding. So scheduling of construction material, transportation process will be needed. Okay, so during the operation, must be carried out regularly for the noise monitoring and select equipment that has low noise emission levels. So use building to contain inherent noisy fixed plant equipment. And the last one, noise control engineering technique will be used in where practical. For example, the use of mufflers, silencers, and enclosure. So next is for the mitigation measure for social impact. So during the construction, the project proposed should be engaged with community to provide accurate information in the project progression with community representative, and emergency response procedure shall also incorporated incident involving any chemical handle on the site. Okay, so for the next part is Environment Management Plan, EMP, which is the main objective of EMP is to provide a set of procedure to sustain the environmental qualities in compliance with the relevant environmental quality standard on regulations stipulated by the DOE. And for the monitoring program, which is MP, which inside the environmental management plan, there is a program named monitoring program, which is an essential component in the EMP, which is it is to monitor the environmental aspect prior to the construction and during the operational phase. The last one is continuous emission monitoring system, CEMS, which is the purpose of this monitoring system is to monitor the compliance of the emission from the stack. The second one is the stack test, which is longer period of time, such as months or year continuously, and monitoring location, which is located at the most appropriate height of the stack based on the DOE guideline. So that's all from me. Thank you.